In the history of mankind, there has been war that broke out for various reasons. The novel I'm going to introduce today is a great description of one of the biggest war of 20th century. Its name is Unwomanly Face to War. The themes in this novel are consistent with many of the concepts in our course ENG4U, so I will compare them one by one out and I will introduce the novel. The Unwomanly Face of War is a book by Svetlana Alexievich, based on the personal experience of many women soldiers. The book is a true record of this woman's personal experience in World War II. During World War II, the Soviet Union recruited many female soldiers who did not just do cooking, or in my opinion, just be housewife at back, but they fought on the front line like real soldiers in place of men. The book doesn't have a main storyline. It's a book made up of the stories with many different experiences for these soldiers. Svetlana Alexievich, born on May 31, 1948, in the Soviet Union, now is the part of Ukraine. She is a Belarusian writer. Many of his work depict in the real-life experience of ordinary people in the face of war and disasters. For her ability to observe in life and describe them in a story, she was awarded Literature Nobel Prize. Svetlana grew up in a family full of literary atmosphere, and her parents were very interesting of reading. She became a journalist after graduating from university. With this experience, Svetlana began to write her own books about true stories, which became her unique writing style. She is best known of her work on Voice Form from Chernobyl, Zinky Boys, and Womanly Face of the War. So this is a novel that I will introduce to you guys today. So in traditional literature, women are generally only given the roles of victims or bystanders, and only men play important roles in the story. But in this book, the author mainly record the true stories of women in the war, breaking the stereotype in literature and fighting for women's status. In this book, women need to really fight on the front line, and they also have to face many physiological problems that the men soldiers doesn't have, such as menstruation, pregnancy, and so on. For a variety of reasons, they are left with a physiological scar after the end of the war. And even in this case, they will still be disliked by others after the war. They can't get enough respect from the other people, and this can still affecting their marriage and even life. This kind of gender inequality is precisely the phenomenon that feminist literature criticism wanted to criticize. Svetlana wrote about real situation, and this story have a lot to do with feminist literature. So this novel has used many literary devices. So I'm gonna introduce some of these devices that just impressed me and that make me memorizing the most. So, in the story, the literary devices of contrast is often used. Like it showed on the PowerPoint, we used to play with those, and now we were learning how to load guns. This sentence comes from a lady soldier of her own, although she is only studying defense. But in my opinion, this sentence contains too much grievance and helplessness. They have to suddenly switch from the naive state to the fighting state. For me, that is very, very difficult, which can't quickly adapt for all these soldiers and people. In an interview after war, a female soldier said, "We thought we were going to be heroes, but we came back broken, haunted by everything we had seen." So this contrast literature device reflect the sense of disparity between the female soldiers who thought they would be respected heroes, they would be respected as heroes when they fought for their country. but in the end, they find the reality is not happening the way they thought and it would, and they were harmed by what was happening on the battlefield. There are also many figurative, and there is many devices such as comparison in the text. Death surround us like air, omnipresent yet impossible to escape. So in this sentence, death is compared to air, which reflect that in the war, death is already a common theme for the soldiers and for the people, and no one dare to guarantee what will happen in the next second. Although these female soldiers are still afraid of death, but they can do nothing about that. So I found some connection between the short story that we have studied in ENG 4U courses and the novel that I chose, An Unwomanly Face to the War. So in the story of Man Descending, protagonist describes his feeling of embarrassment and worthless at being employed and through unable to financially provide for his wife. He feels further emasculated by the fact that his wife is employed in a high status position and is fighting providing for him. The protagonist in inner monologues suggests that he connects masculinity with the ability to take on a dominant role in a romantic relationships. If he is unable to see himself as a higher status partner in his relationship with his wife, he considers himself a failure as a husband and a man. I think that is probably a social problem. And although there's no element of war in this short story, Man Descending, it is traditional thinking and patriarchy the feminists criticize. Just like United Women on the battlefield, they did not get the respect that they deserved. So I think the unwomanly face of war have the same thing that the wars by Timothy Finley that we have read in class. So both works contain elements of war. The wars by Finley are memories from the perspective of a male soldier. And in The Unwomanly Face of War, this work is a narrative of war by female soldiers, and both works describe how in war soldiers consume their innocence little under such condition. Both works also show the ruthlessness of war. So the main character in the wars, Robert, become numb to violence and killing after experiencing war, become an instrument in this battlefield. And womanly face of war is also mentioned that for this woman soldier in the war that give up their previous identity and become a completely another person. In conclusion, Unwomanly Face of War is a novel that is linked to many of the concepts and the story and the short story that we learn in our ENG 4U course, and also give us an insight into real lives and the status of women during the war. Thank you so much.